So this is, well, something new that I'm trying for these TV licensing videos, trying to make them a bit more varied than just reading out a letter to my audience. We're going to have a look at, well, I'm going to answer some of your questions that have been left in the comments below. I do try and respond to questions directly in the comments when I see them. Sometimes there's so many, there's like thousands, I might miss them. I apologise if I do. Then, of course, I don't expect anybody else to read all the comments on all my videos either, so they may have a question somebody else has already asked, in which case I'll try and answer it here in the video. We've also got a few comments whilst I was looking for all the questions that I thought were worth having a look at, responding to. Yeah, one or two areas where people perhaps need a bit of advice. I don't normally give advice, but in this case I'm feeling reasonably confident I can do a good job of it. And then there's like one or two other things which I felt were worth mentioning because, well, they're stupid and or dangerous things to be doing. So yeah, we'll start off with the questions. So let me get my thinking cap on, and we'll go and have a look. Alright, so in no particular order, this is just how the screenshots are saved on my computer. We'll start off with this one from Paul Walsh. What if you live on your own and you've got Tourette's and you need to phone them? Please record that and put it on YouTube. I think that would be hilarious. I mean, I know if you do suffer from Tourette's, it's not a laughing matter, but I've also known a couple of people that have lived with Tourette's, and they see the funny side. They have to. Yeah, and I think they would almost certainly see the funny side of ringing TV licensing and calling the person who answers the phone a wanker every 3 seconds. Yeah. Next one. Alright, Ted Elliott asked, how can they condone this for an illegal tax? Well, I mean, there's two parts to that, really. The illegal tax part, well, I don't think it really is an illegal tax. I mean, I think calling it a tax is a bit of a stretch, really. I mean, I suppose you could argue that it's a fee that you have to pay, it's levied by the government, and it's certainly not illegal. Yeah, I think that's a bit of a stretch, I'm sorry. But how can they condone it? Well, I mean, if you put aside your feelings on the actual licence fee in the BBC, whatever your feelings are on that, how can they condone the way TV licensing behave, the way they treat people who choose not to be licensed, or choose legally not to be licensed? They don't need one or want one. I don't know how they can condone it, really. Yeah, I mean, I think the only way they possibly can is because the powers that be aren't willing to do anything about it. So it's not so much that they condone it, but rather that they can just get away with it. So, alright, anyway, moving on. Marco has asked, is it not for students? They said they can have a portable battery telly in their rooms in halls, providing the family home has a licence. Yes, I don't think that bit is just for students. There is a clause, and again, it seems to be very rarely used nowadays. It's written something like, if the device is powered by its own internal power supply, i.e. batteries, then it's fine. So when that was written, you used to be able to get little black and white TVs that were about yay big, and they had a little screen like that, huge aerial, and you'd put like D batteries in them, and you could watch TV on the go. You could watch it on the train or something like that. I'd love to get my hands on one. I mean, it's not going to work nowadays, 'cause they were all well out of production before the digital switchover, so they'll pick up nothing but static, but it'd be nice to have a look at one. Yeah, that still does exist. Students can obviously use it. They could just watch TV on their phone or on a laptop as long as they don't plug it into the wall, but it also applies to things like holiday homes, etc. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how it works at home. I have looked into things like TV licensing for second homes in their YouTube videos, and that was the only time they mentioned it, really. If you're going to try that, just double check it. Personally, I'm leaning towards that applying wherever you go. So if you have a battery-powered TV that you watch in your own home, at least I believe that's okay. You're still on the correct side of the law. Yeah, I think it's like the black and white TV licenses. They are still a thing, but they're just never mentioned because nobody has them anymore. You can watch TV on a mobile phone, perfectly fine. That's powered by its own internal supply as long as you don't plug it in whilst you're watching it. Same with laptops. But yeah, it's kind of an old clause that isn't really used anymore. Alright, moving on. Pauline Cabbed, why do they make things so complicated they immediately jump to the wrong conclusion about your circumstances? Yeah, you're right, they do. They seem to take the view that, yeah, everyone who doesn't have a license is automatically breaking the law. It's kind of understandable if you're a child. Everybody has a TV nowadays, or the vast majority. They're so commonplace. They're as commonplace as mobile phones and computers and cars on driveways. They're not an unusual thing anymore. You can, so if you were like 10, then you say, well, if they don't have a license, but everyone's got a TV, so if they're not paying the license, then they must be breaking the law. And that may well have been true back in the days when TV was a new technology. If you had a TV, you needed a license for it. But nowadays, there's so many ways around the TV license, on demand, Netflix, Amazon Prime, etc., etc. So yeah, jumping to the wrong conclusion, yeah, it's a bit stupid now, and let's be honest, they do it because they want to intimidate people, really. Why do they make things so complicated? Same reason, they want you to buy a license. Especially if you get a visit, you know those people, if you engage with them at the door, they're going to do everything they can to make you buy a license, so yeah, I think if you read it and you know the truth and you know what the rules are with it, it's not that complicated at all. But they want you to think it is, so that you'll buy their product. So yeah. Alright, moving on. Wanderlust. If they find evidence, how are they going to get evidence if you don't let them enter your property? Well, exactly. Really. They rely on self-incrimination. It's as simple as that. If you don't let them in, well, you don't even have to let them in. Don't talk to them. Don't even answer the door. You're under no obligation to. And don't think that if they bring the police with them either, that you have to engage with them. You go, who are you? And the police normally talk first. And they go, oh, we're here on behalf of TV licensing. No thanks, shut the door. Yeah. In that situation, the police have just as much power as the TV licensing officers, which is nil. Yeah, that's how they're going to get it if you self-incriminate. Or as Bruce Rivers says, you self-snitch.
What do I say? I say stop yourself snitching.
Alright, moving on. Adam asks, so you can't sign into BBC iPlayer to watch? No, is the short answer. Yeah, you can't watch things on BBC iPlayer at any time, live or on demand, if you don't have a TV license. Yeah, and they do make you sign in now, and your account has to have your address on. In theory, they can cross-reference that against unlicensed properties. It's not clear yet if they can or will do that. It should be fairly simple to do. If you sign in, give a postcode or an address that isn't licensed, and you then start watching things on BBC iPlayer, that's some pretty airtight evidence right there, but it's unclear. I haven't heard of any prosecutions like that cropping up yet. So no, you can't watch anything on BBC iPlayer without a license. That is actually, pretty clear. Alright, next question. Kereth Makura. Loving the Klingon logo there, mate. The scary orange envelope of doom. Well, doomed to be ridiculed on the internet, yes. Vincent McGaw. I started watching TV via Freeview iPlayer for over a year now. I don't have a physical TV, but has been receiving those red letters. I'm aware they have access to my online viewing history. If I tell them via their website I no longer need a license, am I still obliged to pay it? Well, no. I mean, this turned into a bit of a conversation as well, actually. So you don't have a physical TV. You don't really need a TV to watch TV. You can do it on other devices, laptops, phones, etc. It's a bit of a complicated one. So he said, I tell them by their website I don't no longer need a license. Am I still obliged to pay it? Well, if you tell them no, you don't need one, no, you don't have to pay it. That's the point. You can stop your payments. As for having access to your online viewing history, again, in theory, yes, they do have access to that, and they would know when you were watching it and everything, and possibly even where you were. depending on what information they gather whilst you're connected. But I mean, if you've stopped doing that, which you say, yeah, you haven't used Freeview and iPlayer for over a year now, so yeah, that's fine. If you've stopped doing that, you no longer need one, cancel it. You don't have to pay it. End of. And he came back and he said, thank you for your comment. So I suppose them having access to my viewing history, they will know that I've used it in the past. Again, yes, they probably do. Whether or not, you see, the BBC probably have that, but whether or not they're passing it on to TV licensing is unclear, because we haven't heard of any convictions or fines or anything being handed out based on iPlayer usage. It only seems to be officer visits, salesman visits, and people self-snitching. But yes, in theory they do have access to that, but it would also be dated, so they would know when as well. So if you were watching it when you had a TV license, that's fine. You now no longer use it, and you no longer have a license. That's fine. So it's only a problem if you keep using it when you don't have a license. There does seem to be some sort of disconnect between those two. They're perhaps not sharing information with each other. I mean, I might be wrong. They may be doing it, and maybe they just haven't caught anyone yet. Maybe it doesn't meet the standard of proof just because your account is signed in. Maybe they can't actually prove it. If they're saying it's a criminal conviction, that's beyond reasonable doubt. That's quite a high level of proof. You could just turn around and say, "Oh, yeah, I was at a friend's house. He's got a TV license, so I logged in and watched something on iPlayer." Unless they have location history as well, and they can pin you to your address doing it, that's reasonable doubt. But yeah, as long as you are doing it right, you're not watching anything on iPlayer without a license, don't worry about it. They may or may not have the information, but again, all it's going to do is prove your innocence. So yeah. Anyway, let's carry on. Morag Sullivan, I have a question. Can I watch any program from the past when I paid a previous license? Just interested. Well, there are ways you could do that. If you're implying that because you paid for a license back in 1996 and you now want to watch reruns of The Bill on iPlayer, no, you can't do that. It doesn't work like that. And that's kind of like, I watched something on Netflix last year and I've stopped paying for it now. Can I watch it again? No, you can't. But if you did want to watch old things, like, last time I checked, the majority of modern Doctor Who was available on Netflix, along with a number of other programs. I think Happy Valley, I haven't seen it, but I'm sure I've seen that pop up on Netflix. Yeah, a lot of BBC content is cropping up on streaming services, which you're perfectly entitled to use. And of course other channels, ITV, Channel 4, or All 4, that's a great platform, is that you can watch a lot of their back catalogue. I was watching something, it looked like it had been made in like 1982 on Channel 4 once, about a man looking for the world's largest snake. I mean, Christ, the production quality was worse than some of my shit. But yeah, it's on there. You can watch so much of their back catalogue on All 4. Yeah, the answer is yes, there are ways to do it, but also perhaps not. Depends what you're planning on doing. Alright, moving on. Jules Nagbunga? Again, apologies. Why don't you just pay your license? If you're against this, then simply disconnect your television and read the news, etc. instead. Well, I don't pay the license because I don't need one. Really, I neither need nor want one. It's not that I'm against paying for it if you need one. I mean, you can argue till the cows come home whether or not you like the BBC or whether it's overpriced, etc., etc. The fact is, it's there. If you want to use that service, you have to pay for it. If you don't want to use it, then don't. What I'm against, though, is the way TV licensing behave. That's always been my thing. It's TV licensing. Yeah, whatever your opinions on the BBC and all that lot, and I know there are a lot of very strong views out there, it's TV licensing that I have a problem with. I don't need or want BBC TV or iPlayer or any live TV for that matter. It holds no interest for me. So why can't I just not have those things? Why do I have to be harassed? Why do my elderly relatives have to be harassed over it? Why do your elderly relatives have to? Why do vulnerable people have to be bullied by these? You know, why do people like, single mothers that are struggling to make ends meet, have to pick up criminal convictions because someone came to their door and tricked them into saying the wrong thing? That's what I have a problem with. Yeah. Alright, next question. Nona Knight, how on earth do they get around illegal wording and then our police ignore it? Well, yeah, I think they they do it because the police, well, it's too much like hard work. They're too busy strip searching teenagers of the police, aren't they? So, yeah, I think there's your answer. Police can't be fucked. Sorry. Right, next question. Dak asked, why is it a TV license, not a BBC license? What is this live TV? The only people that want money from you is the BBC. ITV, Channel 4 and 5 have adverts to pay for that. Could someone explain? Alright, so it's called a TV license because it goes back to the days when televisions were a new technology. Not everybody had one in their home. You might have one on the entire street, and all your neighbours would pile in to watch it if there was something big going on, like a football game or something like that, or a royal wedding, that sort of thing. And back then, the only broadcaster in Britain, at least, was the British Broadcasting Corporation, the BBC. Back then, it made sense. If you had a TV, it had to be licensed, and the license fee went to paying for what you were watching, the BBC. But yeah, you're right. Nowadays, there is so much out there. I mean, you could argue that as soon as we got the first one, as soon as we got Channel 3, as soon as we first got a channel that wasn't the BBC, it should have then have been renamed to the BBC licence, not the TV licence. But it wasn't, and this is where we are. Yeah, you're right, nowadays they would do well to name it a BBC licence, not a TV licence. What is live TV? Live TV, it's not to be confused with watching something that is live, like a football game, where the events are happening as you're watching them, really. Live TV it's as it's been broadcast. So it can be a pre-recorded show, like Coronation Street or something like that. They're filmed well in advance. Those people aren't arguing, who shagged who or whatever, right there in front of you. But it's coming. It's coming out of the TV mast, through the atmosphere and into your TV. That's what they mean by watching it live. You're watching it as it's being broadcast. The alternative to that is what's called on demand, where you choose what you want to watch and when. So you go on to something like All 4, ITV Hub, or ITVX as they call it now, Netflix, Prime Video, Apple TV, something like that. You look through their catalogue and you decide what you want to watch. Similar to, in a sense, you could say it's like when you pick a DVD, or when you used to go to Blockbuster. Who remembers Blockbuster? You would go, that was on demand of a sort. You would go down and pick what you want. You've never needed a license for that. But yeah, live TV is where you are tuning into what's being shown and you have no control over it other than choosing to watch it or not. That's what they mean. Hopefully that explains. If not, leave a comment, Dak, if you see this, and yeah, I'll keep answering it as best I can, either in another comment, or if comments on the internet isn't really enough to do it for you, then I'll make another video about it. But yeah, just let me know. Alright, let's move on. Peter Buckley, if the law states it is legal to watch on a mobile device like a phone or a tablet, what stops you from airdropping to your TV screen? Well, because the short answer to that is it states you can watch on a device powered by its own internal power supply. The TV isn't. Whilst you're watching on your mobile phone, that's fine, because that has a battery in it and it's completely independent of everything else. But yeah, you press the Google Cast or airdropping or whatever your operating system calls it, and it goes to your TV. Your TV, unless that's battery powered as well, which it's probably not going to be, let's be honest, then falls foul of the law. But yeah, no, that's you can't do that. I mean, if you want me to ask what stops you doing it, nothing. You can just do it. But you would then be falling foul of the law. Sorry. Right, let's move on. Pugwash. Now, Pugwash has come up in quite a few comments. Yeah, I do appreciate the interaction, Pugwash. Yeah, it's great of you. Yeah, keep going. I always like reading everyone's comments, but it's especially good when I see the same people coming back and back. Yeah, you know, like a little group of friends that I'll never meet. So, I must have missed a couple of videos since the first instance of this letter. Did the police take action and storm TV licensing headquarters based on your complaint in the end? No, they didn't. Unfortunately, I don't think it was the video before this. It was, I think it was letter number 3 that actually made a complaint to the police about. In actual fact, they did sod all. Even though I sent them a scan of the actual letter and pointed them to my video where I went through it and even explained why it's illegal, they turned around and said that there was insufficient evidence to proceed, which it's just a cop-out, really. That's just someone in an office has seen it and gone, oh, I can't be bothered with that. So, oh wait, we've got this letter from British Gas. They want to go beat up some pensioners. Yeah, let's go do that. Yeah, I like beating up pensioners. Yeah, that's that's my headcanon. That's what happened with the police. But yeah, they just said, oh, there was insufficient evidence, even though they had the fucking letter and a full explanation of it. So yeah, unfortunately not. All right, next question. Maureen asks, I used to work with someone called Maureen. I've been trying to register my details on the BBC website for more than a year, and now I'm 75 and on pension credits. I do not even need a licence, but the site will not accept any info I give. It even says that my postcode does not exist, and the phone number is just an automated message. They made an appointment last year. I waited in like a fool, but no one came. Well, Maureen, you're not a fool. You know, don't think that. You know, you're obviously trying to do the right thing, which is fine, really. Yeah, you don't need a want a license, and you're making the declaration. I've done that twice. I've only stopped doing it because the letters come anyway, and I got sick of repeating myself to them. And I'm under no obligation to let them know. So also I get to make YouTube videos about it. Also, Maureen, I'm just doing the edit now, and I've realised this is the most ridiculous hat I've worn so far. Please don't take that as a reflection on you. It's not. It was just the next hat in the pile of hats for this really long and unnecessary joke, which I'm now beginning to think probably isn't that funny. Sorry. The number being an automated message, try one of the numbers if you really want to ring them that's in the videos I've made, the letters. Surely one of them will work, there's more than one. The automated message may just be, it may be quite lengthy, but you should get through to someone eventually. After all, they do want to talk to you, so they can try and take your money. If you still really cannot get it to work, don't worry about it. There's no action that you must take. You know, if you genuinely are in no need of a license, you're under no obligation to tell them that. Just be prepared for the intimidating letters and be prepared to deal with them. You know, I mean, just put them in the bin. So that's all you have to do. Yeah, don't let them get to you, because that's what they're trying to do. You may get 100 letters and they all go in the bin, and then you get that one that's just worded slightly different and it gets to you. That's what they're doing. It's a numbers game for them. So yeah, just be prepared to, you know, bin the letters. And if you do get a visit, because they do happen, that, you know, not everybody does, then just be prepared to stay calm, shut the door. Yeah, as long as you're confident you can handle these people, then don't worry about telling them. Just get on with your life. Yeah, good support network is the way to deal with that. Talk to family and friends if something about them worries you, or just come here on YouTube. There's a good community. There's a number of forums and such like as well. Yeah, good support network, and good luck in dealing with them. Yeah. All right, let's carry on. That was a bit of a serious one to be wearing a fucking bicycle helmet. Sorry, Maureen. I am taking it seriously. Yeah, sorry. 270 WSM. Yeah. with what is showing through the window, is that not a breach of data protection, as it's saying to the world you aren't licensed? No. No, it's not. That relates to, like, personal information and sensitive information. I mean, if someone can send a letter with my name and address on it, then, yeah, them just putting investigation opened, or you don't have a TV license or whatever, that's not data protection at all. We do data protection at my work, and yeah, that involves things like names, addresses, phone numbers, medical conditions, convictions, all manner of information. So yeah, TV license, not having a TV license, it's not a thing. It's not a breach of data protection, and yeah, there's nothing to really worry about. There's nothing you can do about it. So yeah. Alright, moving on. Jeff Richardson asks, can you pay monthly in coins at their office or write a cheque monthly? By the way, £6 a week for access to shite. Yeah, Jeff, I believe you can pay by cheque. I'm sure that is an option. I can't remember if that was on one of their letters or on their website, but there is some other stipulation, like you have to send it well in advance so it has a chance to clear. Paying monthly in coins at their office? I mean, in theory, I suppose if you were local to the office, why not have the option to go in and pay for it? You know, have a small reception desk. People want to pay by card or take small amounts of money. But I don't think that's the case. I picture their office being just some faceless office building that's rented on an industrial site or something like that. One of those where you have to be buzzed in by reception, but of course there's nobody on reception to buzz you in when you call. Yeah, I picture it being exactly like a TV licensing headquarters. I used to run deliveries for places, and every now and then I'd go to somewhere like that, and it's a wonder they ever got anything delivered, ever, because you can't get in, there's no letterbox, you ring the bell, nobody answers, you ring the phone number that you've got for, you know, you ring your contact, they don't answer, and you just stood outside like a lemon, and it's just deathly quiet, there's no activity at all. Everybody's just inside the building getting on with their own shite. So eventually you drive off, and then you get a phone call like, why ain't my parcel been delivered? Because he didn't come and fucking get it. Alright, moving on. Galby 3000, dear sir or madam, that's Lord actually. Oh, please don't tell me you fell for the established titles scam. No, I didn't. I'm just being a dick. But watch this. Hold on. Okay, Google. Say my name.
Your name is Stuart, the almighty uncle of Iris, godfather of Maya, protector of the Papus and ruler of Bannonfell.
That's what Google thinks I'm called. So no, I didn't fall for that. Anywho, Independent Voice said, get correctly licensed. This implies there are a few types of licenses. What are they? Black and white license and colour license? That is actually a thing. Yeah, you can get black and white licenses. I had to look this up because they're never mentioned anymore in their letters or anywhere on their website. It turns out if you want one, you have to phone up and ask for one. And there were some statistics that they used to be really very commonplace, as did black and white TVs. But over time, that's had slowly diminished, and there's only a few thousand licenses left. But yeah, if you want a new black and white TV license, you have to ring up and ask for one. Also, I don't... how would you be making a black and white TV work? It just seems a bit pointless now for inferior TV quality, picture quality. Because, I mean, they're all going to be analog. So when the digital switchover happened, they all stopped working. So now you're going to have some sort of Freeview box to pick up the digital signal, and then you're plugging that in. I mean, you pull it into the aerial socket, or maybe it has a SCART socket on it, your TV, if it was one of the later models, but I'm not entirely sure how those technologies match up. But yeah, you're going to have to put in so much effort into making your black and white TV work that you may as well just have a colour one. So, yeah, I imagine a lot of those black and white licenses are people that have just forgotten about it and they just pay it year on year on year, and TV licensing never questions them. They've probably got a colour TV or something like that. So anyway, I'm off topic again. I'm never going to get this fucking video done. Right, let's move on. Pauline Cabbed asked, how much energy do they waste producing all these colours of envelopes? I think actual energy producing them, probably negligible, really. And they will buy them in bulk, and they're made in bulk. They probably buy them like a few 100,000 at a time, or something like that. So, yeah, I think more concerning is the materials. I mean, the dyes going into the different colours of envelope. I know nothing about printing and paper and dyes, so, but I imagine there are some chemicals in them. Whether or not they affect the recycling process, I don't believe so. But there must be, say they go to landfill and end up in the environment. I mean, red dye compared to just plain paper, got to be something there, haven't there? But yeah, rather more concerning is how many trees have been cut down so that TV licensing can send us shite through the post. Yeah, that's more concerning. Yeah, the energy in the dye is probably small fry compared to the raw materials. I mean, I don't know. Have a look into it. Maybe I will one day if I get the chance. Yeah, how much energy? What is the environmental impact of an envelope? Times that by, I don't know, 1 million, something like that. However many they send out. Yeah, it's probably not insignificant. I won't want to pay their envelope and bill. Alright, let's move on. John Thomas has put, can't you just put not this address on the envelope and pop it back in the post? Yes, you can. You absolutely can. You can just write return to sender on the front, or unsolicited mail, or whatever you like, and just pop it back in the post. It's not 100% clear though whether or not it actually makes it back to them. I've heard some people say that they have an arrangement with Royal Mail to just dispose of the letters. Yeah, you can just put them in the bin, or you can make YouTube videos about them. Literally hundreds of comments of people saying, why don't you just do this, or just do this, just put it back in the post, or, or if everybody did this, they'd be swamped with them. Yeah, literally hundreds and hundreds of comments saying that. If you want to do it, but you don't have to. It doesn't really make any difference whether you do it or not. It's entirely up to you. Alright, next question. I'm running out of hats. SJ Park says, I just moved to the UK and decided to be a decent resident and pay, but I still haven't watched BBC after 8 months. Well, SJ, it's probably worth just cancelling it then. Yeah, if you haven't watched... well, let's be clear. You see, you haven't watched the BBC. The license, the requirement for a license does apply to other channels as well. So if you're watching ITV, Channel 4, anything as it's being broadcast, you do still need a license. Yeah, if you're not doing that, if you're watching everything on demand, and you're the right side of the law, then just don't pay it. You don't have to. Yeah, but like I said to previous commenters though, just be prepared for what comes. Unfortunately, yeah, you'll get a lot of criminal letters through the post, maybe even get a visit. Unfortunately, yeah, if they pick up on, I'm assuming you've only just moved to the UK, I'm assuming English is maybe your second language, you just know their face lights up when they recognise that, because they're going to try harder to bully you, because they assume at least that you don't understand the system and the way it works, and they'll try harder to scare you. So just be prepared for that. But yeah, if you if you genuinely don't need a license, you don't watch TVs that's been broadcast, you don't use iPlayer, just get rid of it then. Don't bother paying it. Yeah, and welcome to the UK as well. Yeah, I think you're going to have a good life here. Alright, next question. Paul Roberts asked, I cancel my TV license, do I need a radio license? No, you absolutely do not need a radio license. I've heard rumours that you did need a radio license before TV was invented, but it's not the 1930s anymore. Actually, no, when was TV invented? I don't know. I know the BBC stopped broadcasting TV during the Second World War. They went to radio only for it. But no, you absolutely do not need a radio license. Even if you listen to the BBC radio stations, you do not need a license. I don't even know how they would enforce that either. I mean, a radio license perhaps was enforceable back when radios were massive and you only had them in your home, but now they're in every single car that's out there, and you can get tiny portable ones, little FM radios. Yeah, that would be completely unenforceable, but no, you absolutely do not need a radio license. There's no such thing. Right, moving on. David Spear says, it says if you are blind or visually impaired, you may qualify for a 50% reduction. Either you will or you won't. Who are they to make that decision? Are TV licensing goons qualified ophthalmologists now? Well, I mean, if they're paid as badly as nurses, then, yeah, ophthalmologists might be opting to be TV license goons. Maybe it pays better. Who knows? But if you are blind or visually impaired, you can qualify for a 50% reduction. I mean, if you're completely blind, I think, yes, you absolutely do. Visually impaired, I honestly don't know. I mean, does it... Maybe it's if you... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it needs to be a certain degree of sight loss. 10% you could still get a reasonable picture of what's going on the TV. Like 80% you're basically blind. You may as well have the 50% reduction. I honestly don't know. But yeah, if you are completely blind, TV is then basically radio. So in my opinion, you shouldn't have to pay for the license at all. But whatever. Alright, let's move on. The last one, this isn't really a question, but I've included it anyway. This is from Marco. Easiest way is to threaten them over the phone, saying if anyone calls you will punch them in the fucking face. Right, Marco. I have been ignoring these, but there's been quite a few people like this. Others have been suggesting keeping hammers by the door and all this lot. No. Just don't. It's as simple as that. Violence will get you nowhere except in trouble, really. Ringing up and threatening them, their calls are going to be recorded. First thing they're going to do is report it. Come on. And if they come to the doors, there was someone here suggested, I'll just step out in front of them with a hammer in my hand. And do what? Murder them? Come off it. All they're going to do is, run away and then immediately phone the police who are going to come along and arrest you. Regardless of what you think of the TV licensing, call them what you like, enforcement officers, salesmen, goons, doesn't matter. Violence and threats of violence are not the answer. It's just fucking stupid. Do not do it. Will only just end badly for you. Just politely say, no thank you, close the door. That's all you need to do. I sincerely hope you haven't actually done this, Marco, fun, because you're just going to get yourself into bother doing it. And remember as well, being a TV licensing enforcement officer, let's be honest, it's a shit job. Nobody grows up wanting to be a TV licensing enforcement officer. Nobody. Right, and I can't imagine it's very well paid, even if you're making all the bonuses, for selling your soul like that. So, people saying they'll give them all manner of abuse and such like, they've already got a shit job. There will be some, obviously, that do enjoy their job, but most will already just be dead inside, really. I imagine their staff turnover is enormous. So, yeah, just don't do it. You don't need to abuse them or yell at them or anything. Just say, no thanks, close the door. It's the best way of protecting yourself. Closing the door, it's probably the 100th time that day that someone's done that to them. So, that's already bad enough. They're already having a shit day the moment they wake up and have to go to work again. So, yeah, don't do it. And certainly don't do things like this. It's just stupid, and it will do nothing except come back to bite you pretty quickly and pretty severely. Right, okay, next few. Well, I've run out of hats, and yeah, I've run out of hats. So, and the next few are quite serious, so we're not going to do any mocking of them. And then we've got a few comments to respond to. So let's go and have a look. Alright, so these next two are quite serious. Ripping it up with Jamie put, they won't leave me alone. I moved and I had a visit not long ago. I am officially a vulnerable adult. I told the person I do not need one and I don't. However, he refused to take me off the system as I would not give him my name. The threats keep coming and apparently I will get another visit. I have severe anxiety and poor mental health. It's awful worrying whenever someone knocks at my door. Yeah, so I'll refer to you as Jamie. I'm assuming that's what your name is, ripping it up with Jamie. Unfortunately, yeah, you're the sort of person that they prey on. I'm sorry, but yes, that's you are. This is precisely why I reported that other one as a crime. I mean, I was thinking of my elderly grandmother at the time. It seems like it's having just the same effect on yourself. Unfortunately, that's what they do, and unfortunately, they do get away with it. Best I can advise to you is a video doorbell. Sounds like it would be great for you. I know they're not cheap. I mean, you hear like your Ring ones. I know they're quite expensive, but I'm certain there's alternatives to them that are cheaper. Or even just an old-fashioned intercom system. I used to live in a block of flats that had an intercom system that would have done the job just as well. And yeah, that way you can stay safely behind a locked door. You know, you keep your door locked at all times. You know, you can be in another room. You don't even have to answer the door until you've worked out who's there. Yeah, that will work brilliantly for you. The video ones, if you can obviously afford to get a video doorbell, you don't even have to talk. You can look at them on your phone. My mum and dad have one. My mum's phone seems to beep whenever there's a cat or a fly farts near it or something. So you can just look on her phone and it shows the video of whoever's at the door. So if you look, you don't know who they are, or they've got a lanyard around their neck with TV licensing on it, you just go, nope, don't answer it. You don't even have to talk through you can then talk through the camera. Say the postman's there and you can say, oh yeah, sorry, do you mind leaving it on the doorstep and whatever. Yeah, if you look and you see someone you don't want to talk to, don't talk. And then unless you actually go to the door or you're making some sort of noise, they've got no way of knowing that you're in there. So from their point of view, it's an empty house and they'll just turn around and walk off. So yeah, that's the best thing I can recommend to you. Keep your doors locked and yeah, just don't answer the door for anyone, you know, that you don't want to. Yeah, video doorbells, intercoms, even if you really wanted to as well, just open an upstairs window and go, what do you want? You know, and if they say, oh, I'm from TV licensing, shut the window again. Don't even have to be at the door. That puts another distance between you and them. Yeah, it's best I can think of. As for talking to the goon and him not taking you off the system because you won't give them the name, yeah, again, it just sounds like intimidation tactics. Yeah, if they do it again, get their details, make complaints, film it, get your phone out and record it as well, and get it on the internet and see what they're playing at. Yeah, the best way I can think for you to protect yourself is don't answer the door and get some sort of system going where you can identify people before you have to go to the door. Yeah, it just puts that physical barrier, you know, the door between you and them, and you can also put some distance. You can go to a different part of the house. Yeah, the video doorbells work anywhere as well. You can be in a different part of the world and you could do it. So yeah, that's best I can say to you, Jamie. I'm sorry that happened to you. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like TV licensing are going to stop anytime soon. Alright, next one. Liz Williams says, thank you, you've opened my eyes to the law on bailiffs. Is it the same law for everything if they cause anxiety to the person who lives in the house? I had bailiffs call at my house for council tax, which they expect me to pay the full amount, even though I'm on benefits and have disabilities. They expect me to pay over £1,000 a year, even after I've filed forms in for the deductions. When bailiffs have arrived at my house, they are very nasty and threatening, saying they will take what they want out of my home. Okay, so that's not strictly related to TV licensing. I think in terms of things like that, if you want advice from YouTube, go and have a look at Black Belt Barrister. I'm certain he's done videos on what bailiffs can and cannot do. Beyond that, get independent advice. You can get it for free. Some solicitors out there, I think it's called Legal Aid or something like that, or they will do initial consultations free of charge. If you don't want to go down that route, Citizens Advice is another one. There's a number of different debt charities which will have plenty of experience dealing with these. yeah, in terms of them actually coming to your house, same as what I said to rip it up with Jamie. Video doorbells are great. You could look, see who it is, see it's bailiffs, just ignore it, or just tell them to piss off. Keep your doors locked. It's rare that bailiffs, as far as I know anyway, have a power to force their way in for things like debts. That's normally for things like evictions and such like. They can force them into business premises, but homes are a different matter. Once they're in, once you've opened the door and they've managed to barge their way in, then the law is on their side. You're going to have real trouble getting them out. But yeah, if that door stays closed and locked, it pretty much takes away all their power. Even if you then start talking to them through the door, it seems unlikely they're going to start battering it down to get to you, so you just tell them to piss off. Anything outside the house, like cars and such, like if they are there to seize goods, and they then become fair game. But yeah, anything inside the house, that door is your best protection as well. Yeah, if you're on benefits and have disabilities, if you have a Motability vehicle as well, they can't touch that because it doesn't belong to you. And if they do, they've basically stolen it. Motability will not be too happy with that. Yeah, I used to work in the motor trade and I was Motability accredited, and yeah, Motability they're great. They really do work hard to protect their customers and do the best job for them. Yeah, and if someone takes one of their cars away, they're not going to be too happy about it. So yeah, don't worry about that. But yeah, that door is always going to be your best protection, really, against those sorts of people. And if they do start kicking off, phone the police. Just say there's some men trying to break into my house. I don't know who they are. I've told them to go away, but they're currently trying to beat my door down. I'm vulnerable. I'm disabled. I think they're going to hurt me. They may turn up and say, well, we just need to keep the peace. And go, well, keeping the peace involves stopping them breaking my fucking door down. But whatever you do, don't then open the door for the police. Keep the door shut and locked and talk to them through the letterbox or through the window or whatever. Don't open the door to the police because they're fucking useless. What they'll do is let the fucking bailiffs in, and then not even the police can remove the bailiffs. On that. They'll let them in like a frigging bad smell. Keep your doors shut and locked, and yeah, where possible, don't even engage with them. It's the best way of dealing with them. But yeah. And get independent advice as well. Get onto some debt charities or citizens' advice and get help with that. You will find that when it comes to dealing with the council, if you do it on your own, they're happy to drag their feet because it's only you that's losing out and they get more money out of you. But as soon as someone professional's involved, they perk up, because then they know that somebody else knows the system just as well as they do, and they can get it done. Alright, let's move on. That's the two serious things. This is going to be a long ass video. Right, so these are just comments that I thought I'd just respond to. They're not really questions or anything like that, or advice, but yeah, just ones I thought I'd comment on. Here we go. Bad Ninja 1971. Imagine if Sky behaved like this if you cancelled your subscription. Watchdog would be all over it. Yeah, they probably would, and the irony is, I think Watchdog is a BBC programme as well. The thing is, Sky can't behave like that because they don't have the police protecting them. I've had 12 days off work to be at home and wait for their visit. This is Billy. A visit they've never turned up for. I don't get paid when I don't go into work. I think they've already taken their licence money from me by default. I hope you're joking, Billy, that you didn't wait in for 12 days for them to come. I mean, in all likelihood, they're not coming at all. But yeah, you're under no obligation to wait for them. You don't even have to answer the door if you happen to be there when they come knocking. So yeah, I hope you're joking there, Billy. Alright, moving on. Oh lord, this is a long one. John F _UK. John with a 0. Okay. Nothing short of coercion and intimidation tactics that are basically demanding money with menaces because you just so happen to have a television in your house. They seem to think this somehow entitles them to put the frighteners on people who feel they don't need or indeed want to pay for a service that doesn't provide what they expect from a once world-renowned broadcaster. Long gone are the days when owning a television meant it was a prerequisite to have a license for it. With broadband streaming services available on smart TVs, there's really no need to watch live television anymore. Something the BBC and Capita really don't like. No, they probably don't. As it effectively stops them from getting as much money as they were once guaranteed to get. So they're using these scare tactics to try and force people into getting a license anyway, even if they don't necessarily need one. Hence the wording they use in these threatening letters. If you know what's good for you, pay up or we'll send the boys round to put the frighteners on you. Thing is, they can do diddly squat. They can't come into your home uninvited or look through your window to see what you're watching on TV. All they can do is try to trick you into admitting you've been watching live TV by asking certain leading questions. Best way to deal with them is to not deal with them at all. Have no contact whatsoever. If you do happen to open the door to them, just say you're not interested and close the door. They have no recourse. They'll just find someone else to harass instead. And the Brummie puts it, yeah, very well said, 100% agree. Yeah, spot on there. Yeah, that pretty much sums up all of my TV licensing content. Everybody else's content that's out there. If you don't need it, don't want it, you don't have to have it, and there's nothing they can do about it. That's it. So yeah, well said there. Yeah, although please keep that to yourself in future, because I want to make more videos. I like making videos. Right, let's carry on. Dan Gruner, how these goons get away with the constant harassment and threatening behaviour is beyond me, especially the damage it can do to vulnerable people. There really does need to be a massive lawsuit and injunction taken out against TV licensing. Makes me sick. Yeah, exactly. As we've seen earlier in this video, and again I keep coming back to my late grandmother as well. Those are prime to be their victims in this instance. Yeah, it really does make me sick. I always think of, after my granddad died, my grandma really struggled. She was living alone for the first time in about 5 decades, and she struggled hard. I've lived alone in my 20s and 30s, and I did it. I quite enjoyed it for a time, but I did seem to always have something to do. And the thing with elderly couples, especially when they've been around for a long time, they can't get along on their own. It's just too much for them, so they prop each other up. Fortunately, when one inevitably passes away, yeah, the other has to try and do the work of 2 people, and it can be a really big drain, and they need that support. And then along comes something like this, TV licensing. It can be really devastating. Yeah, I remember my grandma got one of those scam phone calls. Unfortunately, she recognised it for what it was, and just, put the phone down. But even just the fact that it came along just completely destroyed her confidence. Yeah, I think she actually went to stay around at my parents' for a few nights afterwards. Went around for dinner and everything. It just completely destroyed her. And that was, she recognised what it was pretty much straight away and put the phone down. It was completely harmless, really. Nothing happened. Yeah, just imagine getting that letters like especially letter number 3 that I did. Absolutely disgusting behaviour. How they get away with it is, well, the police are too busy strip searching teenagers and beating up pensioners to do anything about it, aren't they? Yeah. Anyway, Jon Snow, not the real Jon Snow, surely. I thought he lived in the north. Yeah, Jon Snow has also had a nice red 103. Also had a visit 2 weeks ago from an idiot in a new Audi parked on the drive. Packed on your drive? Bit bold. Sent packing politely. Yes, spot on. That's all you need to do. No thank you, not interested, close the door. Or just say, no thanks, I'm not interested, can you please leave? That's all you need to do. All these people saying they're going to threaten them or hit them with hammers and do this and do that, or, I don't know, throw excrement at them. That was in the comments at one point. The filter on YouTube caught it, but I saw it. Yeah, someone said that they were going to throw excrement at them or something. It's like, what the hell? No, don't do any of that. For one, they're still human beings doing a shit job which nobody ever wants to do. And for two, you're only going to get yourself into trouble. And chances are, whilst the police are fucking dragging you off in the meat vans, they'll just wander into your now open door and check your TV in all likelihood. Like, they probably won't do that. They'll probably run away, or you've murdered them with a hammer, you fucking maniac. But yeah, just politely just Tell them to go away. That's all you have to do. Alright. Sarah Jane, thanks Stuart, very helpful. Happy to help, Sarah Jane. Yeah, I've noticed a lot of your comments coming from quite a few of my videos. Like I said earlier, it's great to have people that follow along. Glad you found it helpful. Actually, I'm going to carry on doing them as long as people care to carry on watching them. So, yeah, thanks for that. Keith Robinson, thank you so much for being so sympathetic to the situation. Elderly people need this harassment like they need a hole in the head. Terrorising people is a criminal offence. Yeah, like I said earlier, I think back to my late grandmother living alone and having to deal with this shit. I don't think she ever actually did have to deal with TV licensing because she had a TV license, but she did have to deal with a lot of other shit as well from various companies, just because she just couldn't handle it on her own. I have to say, if she had have gotten one of these letters, I would have been very cross indeed. It would have destroyed her, and that's not fair. They have absolutely no right to do it. Terrorising people is a criminal offence. Yes, it is, absolutely is, but unless you do it on Twitter, or if you're a teenager that needs strip searching, or if you work for British Gas or something like that, the police are not interested. Anywho, Johan, if I declared my car off the road because I haven't taxed it, they don't come round to check. You are making a declaration and that's it. Yeah, I've got 3 cars on my driveway. All of them are sawn. I just made the declaration online, ticked a box, say, yep, can't be used on the road until I tax it again. That's it. I've heard not a peep out of the DVLA. One of them has been there several years now. It's one of my project cars. There's a whole playlist on it as well. If you want to go watch from me working on it, I do make other content besides TV licensing stuff. But yeah, I don't have to do anything with it. Why your TV license can't be like that? I don't know. But yeah. Jeff Bensley, Scott Robson must have an address in every town, city and county across the country. Well, Jeff, Scott Robson is everybody, and he is nobody. Scott Robson is everywhere, and he is nowhere. He could be watching you anytime, anywhere, and when you least expect it, he will strike you down with all the fury of a man that doesn't exist. Matt Kirk, loving the reference to the ex-wife, hilarious. I don't remember what I said, but if you've recently moved, I haven't, please move your old TV license to your new address. I didn't have one at my old address either. Or did I? No, I think I did, actually. Yes, my ex-wife had one. Anyway, slag that she was. Utter bitch. Yes, the ex-wife. Yeah, what a bitch. Dennis Imber, that letter is used to threaten your parents and older relatives, which can cause medical conditions, etc. They are criminals. And, there's my reply. I agree, but sadly our hopeless police force seem too busy strip-searching teenagers and policing Twitter to do anything about it. That is the world we live in. John Doe, you should do a wheel of destruction with choices of ways to destroy these letters. I did reply to this saying I was going to do it, and then I apologise, I completely forgot. We're going to have to wait till the next letter now, but yeah, it's suggested blender, I've got a blender, fire, compost, lawnmower, feed to a goat, kitty litter tray. Well, I don't have a goat or a cat. I do have a dog. Well, I have 3 dogs. They probably won't be interested. It doesn't taste of all. Yeah, I've got a lawnmower. I could compost it, I suppose. Fire, everyone loves a bit of fire. Yeah, I occasionally do some shooting content. We could maybe feed a TV license letter into that. How many pellets do I need to cut in half? There's something like that. But yeah, I'll try and remember that for next time. We'll come up with a wheel of destruction. That'd be a great addition. Alan Race, this did tickle me, my imagination. We need the private home address of the BBC Director General so we can return all these letters to him. Hopefully he would get sacks full every day. 42 likes for it as well. I have this image in my head of him using a snow shovel to dig the car out. All these bloody TV licence letters piled on top of it. And then the postman pulls up and just happily empties another sack onto his driveway. Oh dear, I amuse myself somewhat sometimes, but yeah, that would be great. Yeah, unfortunately some of the people would probably try and go around and throw excrement at him or attack him with hammers, so we're never going to get his address, but that would be great if he just all of a sudden started getting thousands of letters a day from TV licensing. Something might get done about it then. So, but yeah, maybe address it to his office at BBC, broadcasting house or something like that, for attention of Director General, and just thousands of letters get piled on top of his secretary or something. That would be pretty funny. Right. District Driver, yeah, who's a subscriber as well. Yeah, that's what that little symbol means. Thank you for subscribing, District Driver. Oh yeah, this is a story. Just to remind you, never ever speak to the goons. My daughter did, unfortunately. Signed a new pay fortnightly agreement but missed one payment, and this morning received a court summons. To be fair, she does need a TV licence, but she only missed one payment, and they're wanting to take her to court. Anyway, I had to buy a full year licence to settle out of court. These goons are very dangerous. The lady my daughter spoke to said she had nothing to worry about and was friendly, but at the same time stabbing her in the back. Beware of them. Yeah, it's like we've just seen in that letter. They won't be polite and fair, but they are also out to get you. Same applies to the police, really. They may come across as reasonable, but be under no illusion, they are out to get a conviction out of you, so don't talk to them at all. Never. Even if you're just walking down the street not doing anything, if one of them comes up to you, say, nope, not interested, don't say a word. So yeah. But yeah, that is quite unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, if you've seen this District Driver, yeah, please elaborate in the comments. So, I mean, you signed up for a pay fortnightly agreement, missed one payment, and then received a court summons. Yeah, I mean, was there something else to that as well? Because I mean, it could then be argued, oh, she just stopped the payments because she didn't have a TV anymore. You could turn around the court and say that unless they have evidence to the contrary, or maybe they just took the fact that it sounds like she's had 2 visits. She's had a visit, signed up for a pay fortnightly agreement, and that's, the woman said, oh, nothing to worry about. And then she's missed a payment and then had another visit? And that's where they've got the evidence to take her to court for? Or did she have one, missed a payment, the licence had been cancelled, then she's got one? Or did she not realise that the licence had stopped, the direct debit had stopped, and that's when she got the visit? Yeah, I need to elaborate there, but yeah, you're right, never ever speak to them. Anyone who comes to your door with in a uniform or some sort of ID around their neck, be extremely suspicious, because it's never anything good. Unless it's the postman bringing you your eBay packages. Then it's good. But they wear bright red, you should recognise them. But yeah, anyone else, tell them to fuck off. Right. Barton Seagrave, I think you're missing a brilliant opportunity without realising it. As you have an English version, you should request a Vietnamese version and take this wonderful opportunity to learn the Vietnamese language for those exotic faraway holidays. It's a good point there, Barton. Yeah, I suppose I could. I mean, it's very limited, and unless there's a TV licence scheme in Vietnam as well, they're probably going to wonder what the fuck I'm on about. I'll probably end up imprisoned or burnt as a witch, something like that. But yeah, it's a good point, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose if you were learning a particular language, if you were trying to learn French, you could, see how you're able to translate it. It could be a useful learning tool. But yeah, I think if you only learnt the contents of TV licensing bullshit in Vietnamese, they're going to wonder what the fuck's wrong with you. You're going to end up in a padded room with really comfy socks. Galby 3000, feedback on video production, maybe get rid of the shiny surface reflecting the ring lights. Yeah, it's gone, fair point. A couple of people said that. Yeah, it was only there to protect the tablecloth that I've got down. It will come back when I do food content for obvious reasons, but I've realised I don't really need it for most of the stuff that I use it for, so yeah, it's gone, fair point. Yeah, point taken. Nickel puts, so you declare, you state you don't want to see your ex anymore, then after 2 years they start harassing you again, don't you love me, etc. It's just pure harassment and it's criminal, and I'll leave my reply on screen. I would sooner buy 10 TV licenses and see my ex again, that's for fucking sure. Unless it's to return my dog that she stole my Popeye, then I'm quite happy to pretend that she's dead. Cliff Aberhart, Star Trek Picard, cool. Oh, it so was, wasn't it? Oh, at the time of recording, we've just had Season 3, Episode 9, Vox. Oh, right. There's going to be spoilers in about 2 seconds, but oh my god, they got the Enterprise D back. It was so cool. So we've got all these characters coming back. We got the new Enterprise F. You know, I knew what class of ship that was as well because I've got the book. Let me get you the book. Look, there it is. There it is. Architects of Infinity by Kirsten Beyer, who is a writer for some of the shows as well. I think she writes for Discovery. So yeah, I see that class of ship, and Admiral Shelby's on the bridge. How cool was that? And then it's the Borg and the Changelings. Oh, and I knew when Geordi went to warp in the ship that they were going back to the Fleet Museum. I thought they were going to get the Enterprise E back. I thought that's going to be so cool. And it wasn't. It was the D. And we got to see it, and he turned it on. It's the original set. How fucking awesome was that? So, and he does the thing, and he sits down in the chair, and he pulls his jumper down. He used to do that all the time in TNG. So, and then he says, "Make it so," and engage, and off it went. It was so awesome. I had multiple orgasms watching that. Yeah, it was fucking awesome. I can't wait for the season finale. It's like in 2 days' time at the time of recording. But wait, there's more. Freaking out. I just watched the season finale of Picard. It was so awesome. Where the Enterprise D faced off against the Borg again. And the Borg ship was even bigger. It was enormous. So, and then we had that moment when Beverly had to fire on the ship and her son's in there. That was great. And then Picard finds him. It was so awesome. And they named it The Last Generation. I honestly thought that Picard and Jack were going to die on the cube and they would be the last generation, and they didn't. They saved them at the last minute, and we had bloody Worf and Riker just going along. They were just an epic duo. It was great. It's the best Trek I've seen in such a long time. It was epic. It was the send-off that TNG deserved. It really was. And that ending when they're playing cards was just absolutely perfect. And then it set up a new series with Captain Seven. How cool is that? But yeah, it's awesome. There is a hint of sadness to it though, in that there's a very good chance we will never see that cast again. Maybe one of two of them will crop up in future Trek, but we'll almost certain, at least I am anyway, that we'll never see the TNG cast all together again. Unfortunately, they're not getting any younger, and Patrick Stewart as well. It may well be the last thing we ever see him acting. But for now, it was so awesome! Adrian Rycroft, 41-year-old now, never had a TV licence in my life. If I ever wanted to watch rubbish, I'd go in the garden and watch my bin. You know, mate, do it as a live stream. People will watch it. So, right, last couple now. Stephen Cooper. They came round my gaff and they were reet nice. Then they took me to court. They fined me 10,000 shekels for not having a licence. Can I do anything about it? I never know what's going on. Yes. Or maybe no. Not sure, mate. Yes. Also no. Last one. Mr. Logic. TV licensing. Oh, hey. That's it. This has been fun. I've liked responding to the comments. I know this is quite a long video. Yeah, I had a lot to catch up on because it's the first time I've done it, so I did all the comments on all my previous videos. Going forward, we'll only have like one video's worth of comments to do, so it'll be a bit quicker. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. I've certainly enjoyed going through them and making it all. Yeah, hopefully there'll be many more to come. I've got 2 other TV licensing videos in the pipeline. They'll be out as soon as I've finished making them. And hopefully by the time I've done that, there'll be another letter to come, then we can do another video about that. So yeah, let's just keep doing it. But for now, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this video on doing stuff and filming it. Please don't forget to press the big button here in the middle to subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you liked what you just saw, please click the like button below and leave a comment letting me know what you liked about it. And as always, thank you for watching.